Yo, what's up? Damage Per Second podcast, episode 176. I am your host, Slow Mo Backslap, with my co-host here, Mr. Gaming Forte. Say what's up, Forte.
What's up, Forte? Why do you sound like this?
Why do I sound like what? I'm hosting, man. I can't host?
Okay, never mind. Continue.
How should I sound?
Just like you sound just then. Without putting
just
emphasis
then
on your voice.
Well, okay, all right.
It was like you were doing this. Hi, welcome to Damage Per Second podcast. I'm your host.
Okay, see, my voice has never been that high pitched before, so like I don't even know.
Like.
That's not what it sounds like. I'm pretty sure the chat will not agree with you.
Well, just because your voice isn't as high pitched as mine, it still came off the same way.
So I should just show zero energy. Like,
that was not energy.
Hey guys.
That sounds like you were trying to shame something before you said it.
Hey guys, this is Damage Per Second.
Nobody told you had to sound like
podcast.
Death on Death's Door.
This is Sleepy Time podcast. No, look, man, I'm here. I'm here to have a good time with my homie, talking about some gaming stuff. Like it's gaming news and impressions. Is what we do out here. This is what we doing.
Excuse me, then.
You're excused. You get one of those. You only get one.
I get one.
But you're excused. Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Soldier for Life 504 in the house. First point in the chat. Shout out to the legendary Yobi. He is legendary. And he is Yobi. So, shout out to him. Arcade 4247 in the house. You guys are awesome people. It's good to see you this fine Thursday night. Forte, what you been up to, man?
Oh man.
Outside of accosting me for no reason, what have you been up to?
Listen, what? Okay, let's just move on from that because we don't want this to linger. Because I was literally about to go into a tirade, but I'm not gonna do it.
See, and I'm glad you listened to what I said before the podcast. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you. Go ahead.
Well, my assistant manager got promoted to store manager today. Well, not today. It takes place on Sunday. So I've been running around pretty much all week trying to figure out what's going to happen there. I'm taking over another store because she's keeping the store that I was over and she's taking a second store. So been just really dealing with that all week, the logistics of that, talking to my new assistant manager and everything, getting stuff enrolled there. Still playing Battlefield. Still played a little bit of Call of Duty this week just because I told myself, I was like, listen, as much as I hate this game, I can't be going out here having 3 kills and 11 deaths. We can't be doing this no more. So actually put some effort in and didn't complain about the game and actually did pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, actually did pretty well. I mean, the biggest thing for me is...
So next time you play with me and Taz, you're going to be out here. I'm going to be seeing the normal Forte, which is talking trash to the people you're killing Forte.
It depends. I make no promises. Because that game irritates me to all hell, and then
did you buy it?
And when I get irritated to all hell, I just run out there and I die.
Did you buy it on Xbox like you said?
I bought it on PC.
Yes, finally! Like I've been telling you, like for the audience here. Look, there was this one night, right? It's really late. It's like midnight at this point. Me and Taz is playing Call of Duty, and then Forte jumps in the chat. He's like, "What's up, y'all? What y'all doing?" And we're like, "We playing Call of Duty. Come join us," because we know he got it on PlayStation. He's like, "Oh, I don't want to play it on PlayStation. I gotta get up. I gotta go over there. I gotta use my
nothing to do with it."
Oh, look, man, look. If I'm lying, I'm dying.
To do with it.
Look. You
had nothing to do with it.
Okay, well, you was making a ton of excuses. We can ask Taz.
I didn't want to give PlayStation $10 more for PlayStation Plus.
I was going to get to that. You was complaining about that, and then even Taz was like, "Look, man, I will give you Cash App you the $10 right now. Just shut up and get on the game." And you still wasn't doing it. And then you was like, "Well, I'd much rather play it on PC." And I was like, "Oh, hey, look, man, it's on sale on PC right now for like $43." You was like, $43? It was just like excuse after excuse after excuse until you finally just pay for another month of PS Plus and joined us after like it was like 1:30 in the morning at that point. It was like 90 minutes of complaining. But anywho,
it was good too. It was good complaining.
Taz in the chat. See, Taz know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so moving on from that, I was talking to Forte earlier this week, and he was thinking about because it was like $40 Call of Duty, that is, on Xbox, and he had like some store credit with the Xbox store, so it would have been like $20. I'm like, just go ahead and buy it then, man. So you don't have to keep, because you already got Game Pass from now until eternity. So, you know, like you don't have to worry about having to re-up on a subscription service that you don't really want with PS Plus. And you know, the hemming and hawing, the usual stuff that he was doing, I'm just like, all right, whatever. So you finally just bought it on PC, which is what you should have did in the first place. But glad to hear that.
I didn't
Maybe
buy it
next
all
time.
in the first place, so.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. So you've been playing the game for free because GameStop guys gave it to you for free, and you just still complaining about having to spend any money whatsoever. It's just crazy to me.
Because nobody wants to play on PlayStation Plus. Well, there's
I mean,
want to play on PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, like, that's like the second. That's like the second highest. Because well, actually third, because it's like mobile is the highest, then it's PC.
You don't have to pay on mobile.
You mean to the online portion?
Yeah,
you don't.
You don't have to pay on mobile,
and you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay on PC as well.
You don't have to play on PC either.
Yeah.
Save your money.
Anyway, be good to have you next time we decide to play.
I appreciate you.
Right, no problem, man. You know, what else have you been playing besides Battlefield and Call of Duty?
I jumped into Halo, looked at some of those new skins that were in there. I was like, oh my god, these skins look incredible.
Oh man, don't tell me that. You're gonna have me spending money tonight.
Those skins look incredible in there. It's like it made me. I was on the Xbox, the dashboard. I was on Game Pass on PC, and they're always promoting Halo on there, and it's always got like a screenshot of some of the new armor as the cover art. And I looked at that armor, I was like, oh my god, that looks awesome. So I literally loaded up the game because I saw that armor piece, and I looked at the art store, and I was like, oh my god, this armor looks great. So
man, I wish they would have had that at launch.
Yeah, I bought a little bit of it, and then I played like two or three games, and then I was done with that. But outside of that, just just for sanity, I changed my name back to Forte in the Discord. It's not Poke Forte right now, even though, and I still been playing Pokemon Go. People keep saying, what's going on, man? You done turned into a mobile gamer? I was like, listen, man, mobile gaming is not that bad. It's actually pretty cool. But
okay.
That's what I've that's all I've been really doing and stuff. And then just mostly work took up this week because I'm trying to just, like I said, worry about the logistics on what's going to happen with the new store and everything. And I'm still trying to recruit Taz. Taz, you ready? Whenever you're ready, let me know.
With the work with you at GameStop?
Yeah, I've been trying to get Taz to work with me forever.
But does he have
his job anymore? He's starting to hate his job, so I think I'm getting closer and closer.
Yeah, but you gotta make, you can't just go, oh, well, I hate my job, so I'm just going to stop working here and start working at GameStop. One is he going to make the same money he was making? Two,
I don't know what he makes.
is games. You already got backup plans for backup plans in case GameStop ain't around. You know, so like.
Chad's got it too. He got backup plans. Trust me, if Menards was to if the place he worked at disappeared today, he'd have a backup plan.
Are you eating?
No.
Okay, it sounded like something was in your mouth. No Diddy.
No, I was drinking water, so I was wiping something off my lip.
No Diddy on that too. Anyway,
I think. Do you have a backup plan, Slow-Mo? If you was your job was to disappear, would you have a backup plan?
Not really. I've been in my current company for a little over a decade, and if
you definitely got a backup plan.
I mean, look, I can't speak on the decisions I would make after in case something did happen, but I'd be good to go somewhere else doing some other things pretty quickly.
Googly eyes. I got the Rick James hands out saying, "Come to me." Just picture me. Like
those googly eyes is a little old in the chat. He was putting that out when he was talking about you in Call of Duty.
Well,
but
yeah, they are.
Anyway,
908.
Anyway, for myself, you look at the jumbotron. That is Zoneless. Good grief, how do I say this? Zenless Zone Zero. There it is. That name is weird. But Zenless Zone Zero by MiHoYo, who makes Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. This is their latest game. It's in beta, closed beta. I got access to it. Shout out to them for giving me access. And it's pretty cool. I like it. Like the gameplay. It's pretty fun. Characters are pretty cool. The story is way more modern than what their previous game stories have been. Genshin Impact is very much like fantasy, and then Honkai Star Rail is science fiction. This is like a little bit of like a little bit of both, with a lot of like hacking and there's this whole like other dimension called the Hollow that people can fall into accidentally. It's pretty cool. I like the combat. I like the characters and everything. But this, I always say this when it comes to MiHoYo, and because it's like the one, all their games will play differently, right? But the one constant is the gacha system. The gacha system, doesn't matter how they make it, they pretty it up. How they make it look. And since I'm already talking about, let's roll into the first topic of Zenless Zone Zero impressions. But no matter how they pretty it up, it's the same system, which is, and well, I will say this though, I'll give them this. When you go to the whole loot box area, because like, I very easily maxed out the levels for all three of the characters that they give you initially, and they do this thing where it's like they will level cap you, and then you got to basically do a bunch of stuff to get past the level cap. But in order to do that like quickly, so you can get back into the story, you pretty much got to spend some money. And so for me, whenever I felt like pressured in Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail to spend like copious amounts of money in order to kind of move on, I just chose to just uninstall the game and go play something else. And so I am 1000% certain that will happen in Zenless Zone Zero at some point. But what I usually do is I just enjoy the game for that time period until I get there. And I usually get a good like 20, 30 hours in before the gacha system, gotcha. Like, just, you can't go no further unless you spend some dough, buddy. But we'll give them this. Oh, shout out to Grumpy Shaman with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Grumpy. Is that a controller hopping up and down?
Yes,
think
it is.
Okay.
It is.
All right. Like a Nintendo mascot. But all right. Anyway. What I will appreciate about this one though is, and maybe they were forced to do this by law, I don't know, but they do tell you what your chances are of getting, because when you go into the loot boxes, they'll give you like a bunch of these things they call like, I forgot what they're called, but like essentially they're like gear that you put on your characters. They'll give you a bunch of those, but you don't care about that because you'll get a lot of those just by playing the game. What you really care about is getting the other characters, because there's a whole, massive list of characters in their games.
Still?
They don't call it Wish though. The Wish name was in Genshin Impact. This is now, I forgot what it's called now. Too. Okay, yeah, they call it something different, but it works the same exact way. And the way it works is essentially you get this currency, and then you can turn the currency in for loot boxes, and they'll tell you, like, they'll say you're guaranteed to get a character if you get 8 loot boxes in this little category, and then there's like 3 different categories, and you get, it's different numbers of like how many times you have to play before you're guaranteed to finally get it. So if it says 8, then you can be assured that if you basically roll the dice on this loot box 8 times, one of those 8 times will be a character. And so I've gotten like 2 characters after you expending all of the in-game, because it's a beta, so you can't spend no money in there right now anyway. So everything that they give you ahead of time, I have spent it all already and only got like 2 characters out of that. Maybe 1, actually. I think I only got 1. There's like a bear or something. And so it's I understand. I know why they do it like this, and it's the reason why Genshin Impact is probably one. It might still be top 3 in mobile as far as like how much money it generates, how revenue it generates, because you'll see characters, they'll show you cool looking characters on the screen that you can't get. So when you run out of currency, your only other, recourse outside of just going and playing something else or grinding your life away, trying to get more currency to roll the dice more, is to spend your own hard-earned money in doing it yourself. And so, yeah, like I've seen people stream themselves, take $100, spend $100 on the currency to get characters, and then just do it on stream of them, like wasting their money, because that's just ridiculous. But that's the way the mobile game works. It's free to get in, but once you get in, it's like it's free to get in the casino, and they'll even give you some chips to start you off, and you thought you were ahead, you were winning the blackjack table, things was going great until you started losing. Oh man, now you done lost all the money that you won. What you gonna do? You just gonna leave? Empty-handed? Or you gonna go over to that the cashier's desk and put some money down and get you some chips? There are people like myself who will just walk away. There's no enticing me to spend money. But I know I am in the minority, because I know there's a ton of people that spend their money on it. Now I know you didn't get it into the beta. Have you had a chance to look at the game, or is it something that you think you might want to jump in on?
No, so I knew about it. The only reason I knew about it is because my daughter, my youngest, Peyton, is severely engrossed into
Genshin or Star Rail.
She played Genshin, but she's heavily addicted to Star Rail. Like,
Star Rail is the turn-based. Like Genshin Impact is their action RPG.
Yeah.
And Star Rail is a turn-based RPG. Star Rail is probably I really enjoyed Star Rail. I
watched her because she plays. This also made me come to the conclusion that I just need to go ahead and build a second PC, because she keeps taking my PC.
Yep, time to do that. That's what I'm gonna do with my daughter in a couple of years.
It's cool. And the only reason it doesn't bother me is because I actually genuinely enjoy watching her play. She gets into the car from school yesterday, and the new character came. I forget what his name is. New character came out in Star Rail. Okay. And she's like, "Oh my god, a character that I really, really want is coming out of Star Rail." I was like, "Okay, cool." she was like, then she goes down this rabbit hole. It's like, I said, well, what do you gotta do to get him? And she was like, well, I wished a couple of.
It's
She
not
was like,
simple.
well, she said, I wished a couple of weeks ago, and I hit on my wishes, so my pity is real low. I don't have low pity, so it's gonna probably take me 2 to 3 weeks of grinding to get my pity high enough, so the game will take pity on me. So when I wish, it gives me the character I want. And then
That is
like, listen,
crazy.
she went super deep into it. Like I did, like I've never played them before. Like, well, I played Genshin Impact, but I never played it to the point where you started doing
They
like the
call
wishing
it
and stuff.
pity. They call it. That is disgusting, yo.
They call it pity.
You playing the game and not giving them money, like it's a derogatory way of referring to it. We'll take pity on you and give you this character. Knowing that it's like most games, like take Fortnite for example, right? Fortnite, a skin comes out, you want it, well, there's a price. Here's the V-Bucks price. If you got the V-Bucks, or you don't. If you don't got the V-Bucks, you spend real money to get the V-Bucks to buy the skin. Mm-hmm. You know, like Ninja Turtle, and they'll have bundles because they're like, hey, we just dropped the Ninja Turtles. You made Leonardo maybe your favorite turtle, or Raphael, but if you want all 4 of them, you know, we got a bundle. It's going to cost, you know, less than what it would with them individually, but definitely significantly more money than it costs for just one turtle. Like, I get that, right? Maybe I'm just used to that. Like, if you just want a skin or a character, because this for these characters, they're more, they play differently, so they're it's not just a skin, but you just, if you want it, you buy it. Like the fact that they got a pity system. I see you still grinding out here. Okay, well, we'll just give you the character after you spent 60 additional hours on this game trying to get one character. I can't. Ain't no freaking way, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, but she was like, Peyton, she was telling me about this pity system and how long it would take her to get the character. I was like, so how do you get it faster? She said, well,
spend that money.
I'm talking. She right here talking to. She's like, who you talking to about talking Star Rail? Come here real quick. Come here. Bye. Just come here. Bye. But she told me, she was like, yeah, it would take probably 2 to 3 weeks of real grinding. But then she came up with this real big scenario in her head. She's like, yeah, I grind real hard for like a week. And then, you know, I got to be responsible with my money, you know, because people aren't responsible with their money in Honker Star Rail. People just spill their money willy-nilly. She just talked about, like how you just talked about a streamer going in and dropping $100, $200. She literally watched a streamer drop $1,000 down.
What?
Literally drop $1,000 down so he could get so when he did his wishes, he was able to get the stuff, like pretty much almost get the stuff that he wanted.
Well, you better, after $1,000, like it better be guaranteed I get what I want. But this is why I come back to them actually, like the difference between, I'm fairly certain they didn't do this in Honkai Star Rail, but maybe they changed it because I played it when it first came out and it wasn't like this with Genshin Impact. But you didn't know the odds that you had of getting a character. And then, well, also, then like you get the chance because it's loot box. It's like ultimate cards with EA, with FIFA and Madden. You could end up getting a character you already have, and it's like I don't know. I can't remember how MiHoYo handles that. Do they give you the credit back, or do you get like? Because like I know in the Division, if you were using their loot box system to get like cosmetics, and it gave you a cosmetic you already have, they would give you like 60% of the currency that you use back, and then you could then go try again if you definitely had like a lot of stuff. And so I don't think they do that. So
Oh no, that money there. You better get in there and spend all that currency before you leave.
Yeah, and the great B Rich in the chat says if he's a content creator, like a big content creator for the game, he's making more money than he's spending on the game, which is true. But then, like, it is the what about the people who aren't content creators and they're doing that? And then the people who are thinking about doing something similar to that, and then they see that content creator do it and they feel emboldened to do the same thing. They're not content creators. They're going to get their money back through ad revenue or super chats or whatever. They're not getting anything back. They're just spending that money on the chances they get a character that just, I can't do it.
The name of this game you're talking about is Zenless Zone, right? Zero?
Yeah, that's it.
What do you know of this game, Peyton?
What game?
It's called Zenless Zone Zero. It's made by the same people that so you know about it.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, let's go, Peyton.
Okay, what do you know?
About the game?
Yeah.
Not much. Actually, not much.
Okay, well explain to us your character. Yes, because I'm just
is talking about?
Yes, here, go ahead and tell everybody about your Honka Star Rail, your character.
My favorite character.
Okay, so tell people what do you have to do?
So what?
So what do you have to do to get this character, and why can't you get him right now?
So basically, I am a person on a track team, and I have practice at like 3 to 4:30. And the thing is, and then I also have schoolwork to do the same day. So it basically takes me a maximum of like 7 hours to actually play games. And I'm also tired after practice.
Okay, so what they're gonna do? Tell us about the game.
Yeah, I was like, why are we talking about practice?
Because of you.
We understand.
Why are we talking about practice?
Yeah, we're talking about practice here.
Why you sound like a news reporter?
Explain to us the process of you trying to get this new character, and why you can't get him right now, just in the game. What did you tell me?
So you have to wish. The game I'm talking about, it's a wishing game. You know, gacha games where you have to like wish and stuff. I can't get the character right now because I didn't grind beforehand. I would have, but I was busy for about like 2 months, about like my last month. So I would have. So yeah.
Did you just?
Oh my god! All right, that okay. So thank you, Peyton, for your contribution.
So
we appreciate that. And the burp.
So what do they call? So now you said it's called pity.
It's pity.
And why is it called pity?
Because pity. What is pity equal? What is the symbol?
So why did they give you pity? How did you get pity?
If you wish and don't get a 5-star character or 5-star anything, it counts like against you as pity.
And you have how much pity?
About 24, which is considered low.
It's low. And what's the high end of pity?
It can go high as far as you want. It can go high. So
unless you spend money, you're not gonna get this character unless you either grind to the end of time.
I have to grind like this next 2 weeks.
Thank you, Finn. She's like, I gotta grind for 2 weeks to get a character, bro. Can you imagine? Couldn't do it to get a character.
To get a character. And then other games, it's just like if you want the character, you just spend the money.
Would I grind for him? Yes, I would.
This is fascinating because this is the mind of Gen Z, right? This is how Gen Z views live service games and playing the game. It's like an evolved version of the looter shooter grind where we would grind for weapons, but like we weren't spending. You couldn't like spend money to get it. You just had to grind in the game and hope that the RNG gods would bless you with that weapon, whatever percentage of the drop was.
And I'm glad you said that. why, before you leave to go upstairs, why do you prefer gacha? Why do you prefer games like this? Why do you, because you play it every day almost. Why do you like this type of game?
Gacha games?
Or just this type of game in general? Like, what kind of game, if you had to say you're a gamer, because you are, what kind of games do you like to play?
Combat games.
Combat, which that's why you like Spider-Man, which great job. Knocked that out on, she knocked out like she knocks Spider-Man out all the time, that she's great at it. But so why do you like gacha games? What's the thing about those type of games that makes you interested to want to keep playing them?
Because it's mostly about the story, because gacha games make their story so good, but also it like encourages you to like get characters.
But they also kind of they also kind of like time gate the story content, so you can't burn through it. You have to kind of like, you get to a point and then you gotta wait in order to see the next portion of the story. And yeah, that sucks too.
Yeah, she even said it because that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, people don't think about it, but you know, they kind of drip feed you a lot of the content, but then a lot of the content is also tied behind the characters. So the reason they want those characters is because it's a subplot of the game that you kind of want to have that character, so you can see how something develops around that character and the other ones you have. And that's the main reason she wants this character, because, well, first of all, it's her favorite character, but she also has other story elements that are going to unlock when she gets it.
Yeah, and that's where usually that like that mix there, where it's like, I have, in order to continue the story on, I have to unlock more characters, but I don't have the in-game currency built up from playing the game, because the grind is so difficult in order to get enough currency to unlock more characters to then continue the story. That is just like, that's where you're stuck with, I need to spend money. Because I'm basically I'm just grinding on characters I've already maxed out, doing absolutely nothing, but just, you know, the same content over and over again, trying to build up enough currency to get a character, to level that character up, to then continue the story. That, like, there's just, you need to spend money, bro. And that's just, it just don't sit right with my spirit. But tell Peyton thank you for her input on that. It's good to hear from
I'm actually
Gen Z sometimes.
You know what? I'm actually pretty happy and surprised, because I didn't try to get her to talk on this podcast multiple times before just to say something, and this is the first time she's done it. So, but yeah, it's real interesting. Like I said, what you just heard, imagine it more detail and not being put on the spot, and it's just a conversation we're having driving home from school. And I'm sitting there like, what? Yeah,
she's probably breaking the whole thing down with systems, which currency, which content she has to grind to get the most. Yeah. You know how like how in looter shooters we figure out what's the loot grind, what's the best loot grind, like which mission gives you the best chance to get a particular weapon, or like, or max level a character. Just, you know, everyone figures that out with a game over time, and it just, like, that makes a lot of sense, man. Makes a lot of sense. Moving on, let's discuss some news that came out. So a PlayStation blog update recently let us know about Ghost of Tsushima, the port to PC, which we were aware that it was being ported to PC already. That's supposed to, I think that's next month, I believe. But the port to PC is coming, and they gave us a little bit more additional information about what would be available with the port. And so Ghost of Tsushima, as you're seeing on the Jumbotron right now, this is gameplay from the Legends mode, the multiplayer PvE mode that was free with the game. Came out maybe like a couple of months after the game launched. And great mode, great time. This mode will have crossplay. So that's the first thing that's awesome. It also will have something completely new to PlayStation games on PC, a PlayStation UI that will allow people to squad up with other gamers to play the game, and that will also be cross-play, so you can squad up with people on PlayStation as well as PC. And then additionally, and that's not it. That's not all. You're also going to be able to get trophies. Now, finally, trophy support is coming to PC. Now, they didn't say anything about adding trophy support to the games that have already released, that are PlayStation first-party games on PC, but this is the first one. And that has sparked a ton of conversation online. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of people, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of people just speaking their mind and how they feel about things, and being accosted by others who I guess can't take a difference of opinion. I don't know. But all that said, there's a lot of people who believe that the way that Ghost of Tsushima it is being released on PC with the features is being released with means that this is a bigger indication that day and date releases, not just the multiplayer games, but the single player content as well, are going to be coming to PC as well as PlayStation 5 at the same time, much sooner than people think. Forte, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think is going to happen?
I think everything's going to be status quo as usual, but the one thing I will say is PlayStation, the more they give PC and they get a chance to see that those games will get supported even more than when you start blurring the lines between what makes a difference between a PlayStation and a PC. You know, you start giving people trophy support, you start giving people cross-play where they can still play with people on PlayStation or they can play on PC. Once you start giving people all that type of stuff, it gets to the point where you can't definitively say day and date will not become a thing at some point, because they're just giving.
I think everyone can agree that eventually day and date will be a thing.
Will be, yeah.
I think people just disagree when it's going to happen.
When it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen this generation. I think I would be surprised if it. I would still be surprised if it started during at the start of PS6.
Now, I can see that too.
I can see during PS6 is when you start seeing that transition. That would probably be the earliest. But the fact that they're basically greasing the skis right now and telling people like, hey, the experience that you'll get on a console will be the same on a PC. You're not going to be, you talk about missing your trophies and stuff, which is a crazy selling point for people to stay on console, because there are a lot of people that buy on console because of the achievement system or because of the trophy system. Is the reason a lot of people don't like buying games on Nintendo for the most part, because they don't have a way of tracking your overall achievements and stuff in the game. And I do believe that a lot of people would be buying more Nintendo stuff. Not saying they don't do it now, but people will probably talk about it a little bit more in the things that they buy and play over there, if there was a way to like catalog your experiences by showing people the stuff that you played and all the achievements you got. So I think that just opens the door for people to, with pretty much certainty, to say that at some point in the future, don't know when that future is going to be, that games are going to be ubiquitous across all platforms when it comes to release cadence. And but I also think that's going to be tied to when PlayStation finally does and I think this is what, however long it takes PlayStation to come up with a storefront that they don't have to depend on.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So here's my next question to you.
Yeah.
Is this a bigger indication that a PC PlayStation launcher is imminent than than it day and date, because that's what I believe this is. I think this is more of this is kind of the testing ground of how their PC launcher not necessarily will look. It probably will look similar as far as design, the visual design of the UI that's in there, but as far as them getting this working within Ghost of Tsushima, I think that they're just trying to make sure that all the bells and whistles, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted when they launch the actual launcher. I feel like that might come this year.
Like this. Yeah, well, think about it like this. The way it's a lot harder to integrate your overlay for your game on a third-party platform than it is to build a platform from the ground up with that in mind. So if they can get an overlay working inside of Steam OS or Epic or wherever their games are releasing at, and they can get that to coexist with the overall structure, like, because, you know, Steam has their own overlay and everything, and if they can get, and I think every game requires to have that overlay tied into it. So if they are able to do that without having any hiccups, that just kind of tells you once they get their own, their own storefront open, they're going to be able to integrate this with no problems, because it's going to be built from the ground up with this in mind, and there's no reason to. And then at that point, I think day and date is just when is it going to happen at that point? So I think the moment you hear PlayStation start talking about launchers and storefronts for the PlayStation for PlayStation ecosystem games on PC, that's going to be within that year to the next 2, maybe 3 at the longest, is where you're going to start hearing about games being day and date with PC. Because in PlayStation's eyes, it's not going to be because they're on another platform. It's going to be because they're still inside the PlayStation ecosystem, but it's a launcher that's on a PC where they're not losing sales, and they're still able to get, they can still get garnered some of those sales that they'll be missing out with. And the funny thing is, I think a lot of PC gamers would pretty much adopt that, mostly due to the fact that they, when it comes to something like, their own games being on there, I think sometimes people that are on PC, they can deal with a launcher. Like, people didn't have a problem with Witcher when it first released the first time, because it was only available on GOG at first. It wasn't anywhere else. It was, through their official launcher, and then people don't have issues like that. People don't have an issue with Fortnite being on the Epic launcher. Now, they have an issue with the Epic launcher when it comes to buying third-party games and stuff, because they don't want to do that. But when it comes to first-party stuff, they don't care if it's on the Epic launcher, because it's Epic's launcher. I think that would be the same thing when it comes to PlayStation. If PlayStation games are only available on the PlayStation Store in their launcher, they'll get some pushback, but I think a lot of people will kind of understand that, and I think it will do really, really well. So I think this is, you're right, a bigger indication that that's coming more than anything. But then once that comes, you'll really see the floodgate open, the day and date happening on PC a lot quicker, because PlayStation wouldn't share that revenue with anybody else.
Right. And so, like, if we go back to what Hiroki Totoki said a little while ago, yes, he's the interim CEO, but they're not going to hire a CEO to be the permanent guy who isn't on the same page of what the board and what Hiroki Totoki have already stated to investors and shareholders what they're going to do. So I say all that to say that they talked about being more aggressive on putting their content in other platforms. And when they said other platforms, they definitely meant PC. And so now we see where we're seeing the fruit of that. Trophy supports here. UI, a specific UI designed for crossplay and allowing gamers to across platforms of PlayStation and PC come together and play these games. I think, yeah, absolutely. A PC launcher we already knew that was in the cards based on job listings, because they were looking for people who had experience in making things like that, and they were trying to hire those people. This was years ago though, right?
Right.
I think that's going to come sooner rather than later. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if that ends up getting launched this year, because think about what else is going to come out from them first party wise this year. They got more games being ported. Nixus is at this point. Nixus is almost Nixus and the two other support studios they have are closing in on getting the entire more recent, like PS4 and PS5 first party library over on PC. They're getting closer to getting that done. They got a lot of games they plan on coming out on PC this year. But then you take that and then you also add in there are 2 new games that are outside of Helldivers that are coming out this year, or this fiscal year. So it could end up being March of 2025 before these games show up. But Fair Games, which is another live service game, which means it'll be day and date on PC, and Concord. So those 2 games, 2 live service games, they're going to launch the way Helldivers launched. They're going to be on PC the same day as they're on PlayStation 5. I could definitely see them deciding to get that launcher out there so that instead of giving Steam 30% of the revenue, there's an opportunity that they can entice PC gamers to buy it in their launcher. And sure, there's going to be a ton of Steam Valve fanboys that's going to be like, no one can survive without Steam. And I would say you do realize Riot Games is a thing, because Riot Games has some games on Steam, but they're usually like they're smaller games. Their big games don't have anything to do with Steam. Right. You're not finding League of Legends and Valorant on Steam. You're not finding, even though this isn't a Riot game, but Escape from Tarkov, that's not on Steam. So Fortnite, was on Steam at one point. Epic took it off when they create their own launcher. So there's kind of a precedent for this. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be super successful, because we have seen EA, Ubisoft, we've seen plenty of Activision with the Battle.net. We've seen plenty of publishers choose to take their games off of Steam and then have eventually put their games back on when they couldn't get the sales they needed. But the fact that they did it doesn't change like that's they took the chance. And just because other publishers have failed in that regard doesn't mean that Sony wouldn't take that chance. I just find that to be very interesting to me, at least. Shout out to Erodimus in the house. Erodimus giving us 5 gifted subs. We appreciate you, man. Brian East. Basic, I always find this name funny. Basic Casual Gamer. Shout out to Ghost and Leon Warfield. If you guys are listening right now live, please thank Rodimus for the gifted memberships. Appreciate you guys. This does give you access to the Discord. So just hit the I guess it's like the perks button that's there beside the name of the channel, and then you should be able to see the link for the Discord. It should be a never-ending link, so it should be able to get you in. That's it. I felt like there was something else I wanted to talk about this. Here's another question. Forte. Will the trophy system, okay, let's say it's 2025 and Venom is coming out, okay? So if Venom's coming out, you want to play it.
Yep.
But it's on PS5 right now, and then it's going to come to, let's say it's going to come to PC in 6 months, okay?
Yep.
It's going to have the trophies there.
Yep.
On PC. Is that enough to get you to wait on the game instead of just buying it on PS5 and playing it at launch?
No, it just depends on for some people, if it's a game that I guess you also got to think of the price point too, because the games on PC usually are $10 to $15. Well, $10 normally cheaper, and then you can also get them for cheaper if you go to other websites and stuff too. So if you don't want to spend the $70 for the game, then maybe it might entice you if it's only that long. But I think if it's a game that you really want to play, the trophies aren't going to, change your mind on something like that. I just think if you have I feel like if you really want to play PlayStation games as of right now, because we're basically we're just talking about what could happen, because as of right now, PlayStation is putting their games anywhere from a year to a year and a half, 2 years out when it comes to bringing them over.
Well, I would say
so
for the most, if let's not use the measurement of how long it takes for a game that was a last gen game to get over, because then that really kind of extends it out.
Well, that's what
Like
I'm
for
saying. So
example,
that's what I'm saying, at
Until
least a
Dawn is
year.
coming. Is it Until Dawn coming this month? Let me double check that. I thought Until Dawn's probably this month or next month. Did they not have a release day at all? Oh, they don't have a release day for that one. My bad. There's something that's coming outside of Ghost, right? Isn't there something else that's coming in the next couple of months? But no, Ghost is a good example, because Ghost came out, and I think that was 2020 or 2019. Let me double check when Ghost came out, because I feel like the thing is that Ghost of Tsushima came out before it was 2020, July 2020. So Ghost came out before they made this push to put their games on PC. And so it coming out 4 years after it launched, it doesn't really that's not indicative of where their release cadence is now. Now, what would be more indicative of that is Spider-Man 2. Because Spider-Man 2, they've already got this initiative. They said the whole slate's going to PC. Spider-Man 2 came out last October. When does Spider-Man 2 show up on PC? Would be a better indication, right? Because if it shows up before October, then, or around October, then that's a year, right? So I guess we'll just have to see. But there have been games that The Last of Us Part 1. How long did it take Returnal to get over? I can't remember, but we've seen.
I think it's a year later.
Yeah, a year and a half, something like that. So, yeah, it's and when they're talking about being more aggressive, they could be talking about being more aggressive in that as well, like being more aggressive to get those games over there quicker. But we'll have to see. Anything else you want to say about this before we move on?
Oh no, man, I'm really interested in exactly where this is going to go. You see more and more people switching over to the PC platform every day. Consoles, literally the only reason to have a console at this point is just for the ease of use. And even then, I feel like PCs, the ease of use has come down significantly to the point where you really don't even have to worry about that. You don't have to build it. You could go out and buy a pre-built, and most pre-builds will definitely do everything that you want them to do. Price will always be the sticking point for a lot of people when it comes to upgrading to a PC, because it is a heavier or a steeper investment to get into that ecosystem. But I think a lot of people are also coming to the realization that over the course of owning that PC, your games will be cheaper, and upgrades can come as fast as you want or as slow as you want. But shout out to Singer, he's still rocking a 1080 Ti,
right?
And he's still running games
7-year-old GPU.
Yeah, on a 7-year-old GPU, whereas and that GPU was still more powerful than the systems 7 years ago. So he's still getting everything he wants out of it, and it really hasn't hindered his gameplay. Compared to, can you imagine playing your games on a base PlayStation 4 or a base Xbox One in 2024? So that's the freedom that PC gives you. But I do think that consoles will always have a place, just due to the fact that people just prefer that type of median, and it's going to be great. But you're going to see more people upgrading the more time that passes, and that's going to heavily incentivize what's going to happen with these platform holders over the course of the next decade and a half.
Well, I mean, a part of that is also the upfront cost, right? So upfront cost, on the back end of things, after you built your PC and you're in the PC ecosystem, things are cheaper. You're not paying to play online. You're not, you can very easily just go to websites like Green Man Gaming and CD Keys and get your games cheaper. than they are, and this isn't like one of those websites where it's like a legal key, like it's like, you know, it's a legal purchase or a key or whatever, and then like you playing the game for 3 months and then it gets deactivated because they found out it wasn't a real key or something. Like, these are legit keys that are provided, and you're able to get those games, like a $70 game at MSRP when it comes out. You can pre-order that game or get it a few days before launch at like $55, $50. What's the last game I bought? I bought Dragon's Dogma 2. I bought Dragon's Dogma 2 off of one of those sites, and I got it. I think it wasn't Green. It was Fanatical. No, I got the Fallout games for $20 on Fanatical. It may have been Green Man Gaming. Whichever one it was, I spent like $48 on the game. So like you may save money that way, right? But the upfront cost of PC gaming to get the kind of experience that you're looking for. Now, the kind of experience that everyone's looking for is different. If you want to get, at this time, April 2024, I want the best possible PC. I want the best CPU out. I want the most RAM I need. I don't even need 64 gigs of RAM, but I want it, right? Yeah, I want the fastest storage with the fastest GPU, which is a 4090. I want all that stuff, bells and whistles. You're going to spend some money, right? And I think that when people think about PC gaming and they think about gaming with zero compromises, they don't want to spend that amount of money. Even though they don't realize you don't really need to spend that much money to surpass console gaming. You don't need to spend that much money. You don't. And that's a misconception that console gamers have, when a lot of times they're listening to other console gamers who are straight up lying about PC gaming. I see these guys all the time. Hey man, look, I'm just telling you right now, that PS5 Pro is going to be amazing, and I'm a PC gamer with a 4090. Shut up, don't you ain't? You ain't even shown your 4090. You have not shown a lick of gameplay on PC. You have not shown your build before. Only thing I ever know that you are a PC gamer is when you are capping for a console and claiming, and this is coming from a PC gamer. What you really mean is this is coming from a fraud, because you ain't a PC gamer, sir. Because if you were, you wouldn't be saying the foolishness that you say. Anyway, you don't need to spend $3,000, $4,000 to have a PC that surpasses an Xbox Series X or even a PS5 Pro. You don't need to spend that much money. You could go $2,000, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 and get an experience where you are playing all your games at 60 frames per second or higher, which you can't say on consoles. And so that's like, and with visual fidelity that like is very good, considering the superior upscaling tools that you have at your disposal on PC. On consoles, you just have access to FSR, which is the worst upscaler, which has the worst image quality. Even Intel's XeSS that just came out has better upscaling image quality than FSR. And so a lot of this stuff is like what comes into play. And when people really get into PC gaming, they start to see all the benefits that really come from it. But I say all that to say, just because that's the truth of things doesn't mean that people will know that truth, and doesn't mean that people or care about it or even hear about it. They will consistently keep hearing that you're spending, in order to get the same experience or better on PC, you gotta spend $4,000.
Right.
They're gonna keep hearing that, and they're gonna keep choosing not to go that route. They're gonna keep hearing that every time you play a game, you gotta tinker with it for 35 minutes to make it work. Or every time you play a game, there's a problem, you gotta troubleshoot it every single time. None of that stuff is true. Like it's none of the stuff that's just inaccurate. But these are the things that people tell other console gamers, and they choose not to go the PC route. Which I'm not saying that everyone who goes the PC route will love it. And it's gonna be the best. I mean, they like their eyes are gonna explode when they see, you know, a game in 4K, you know, north of 120 frames per second. But plenty of people jump on PC and then realize this wasn't for them. And then realize, you know what? I think I'm gonna just go back to the simplicity of consoles. I just like it better like that. Well, I don't have to. I feel like I never have to worry about anything. Like some people don't want to go into their settings and tweak anything in order to make sure they maintain a 60 FPS minimum. They don't want to do that, and that's fine. That's all. It's also a preference stuff. But anyway, Brian E says, to be fair, Slow-Mo, there's a better chance of a buggier game dropping on PC than console. I would say that used to be the truth some years ago, but I would say that's not the truth anymore. There's plenty of console games that are super buggy that people play on consoles. And I mean, our good friend Lord Cognito of the Iron Lords couldn't play Outriders for a full month. He was on Xbox Series X. He couldn't play for a full month. I was playing on PC with no problem. I mean, the game was buggy, but it was buggier for him, you know, like Gotham Knight on consoles never gets over 30 frames per second. And when it first launched, it was routinely in the mid 20s, the low 20s. It was never that low for me on initially. It was a terrible launch for it on PC, but after a few months, I was playing that game native 4K 120 frames per second. So it's just, and I didn't have any bugs, but I know a lot of people talked about. Actually, I don't even think that one had a lot of bugs, but I guess there's games where there's a ton of bugs on consoles too. And at the very least on PC, I have the option of kind of turning settings down to kind of mitigate a unoptimized mess of a game, or potentially maybe changing some things on my PC to kind of make the experience better. On console, you don't have any of those options. The game's a buggy piece of garbage. It's a buggy piece of garbage, period.
True.
And there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, you ready to move on?
I am.
This might be a bit of a sore topic, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a sore topic for me because I hate for this to turn out this way, but it looks like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sales have been a bit underwhelming. That seems to be the report that's out there with games media. I can't remember exactly how they've determined that, and I don't really care how they determined it, because I know that it's a fact based off of the behavior of Square Enix, because they ain't said a word about sales about this game at all. Period. Now we've seen some Famitsu sales numbers that show that after launch has had a bit of an uptick on sales in Japan, and that's great, but that's just Japan. That's not really taking into account Europe, the United States, you know, all the Americas, all the other regions where this game is sold. So I think Square Enix not speaking on it at all means that, yeah, the game didn't sell what they wanted it to sell. And there was a ton of narratives out there determining, like, well, why didn't the game sell that good? And it's a good game. I beat it. Took me 70 some hours to beat it. Enjoyed it. It's got like a 93 Metacritic or something, like 90 something Metacritic, right? It's a good game. But why didn't it sell the way Remake sold? Why didn't it sell the way Final Fantasy 15 sold? And I feel like it's way more to do than just its platform exclusive status. Forte, what are your thoughts on that, man?
So this, for me, is a very simple, but now a simple way of looking at it is, Final Fantasy VII Remake came out April 10th, 2020. Saloma, what happened a month before that?
You said April 2020? You mean when everything shut down?
The world came to an end for a lot of people when it came to having to stay at home.
Yeah.
That was one of the things. What could people do? What is the one media that was unaffected, actually blew up from said pandemic that happened in 2020? Gaming. Now, Final Fantasy, and there's a lot of games that I felt like benefited from this. I do feel like Final Fantasy Remake did benefit from that a little bit. I also feel like games like Animal Crossing, even though Animal Crossing, I think still would have sold very well, I don't think it would have sold like it did sell. Like, I don't think it would have been a 30 to 40 million copy seller for Nintendo, you know, because it was like more of one of their niche titles and stuff. But it came out at the, you know, for the world, it came out at the right time for the wrong reason, but Nintendo was able to capitalize on it because of that. And now Animal Crossing is like a household name because of it. But when it comes to Final Fantasy, that was the second game. I remember our store was closed that week, and it was a huge push to get people to go back to their stores. This is where the whole, you know, essential thing came from, and everybody had to go back to they wanted people to go back to their stores because we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pre-orders for the game, and people couldn't pick them up. So, because the stores were closed. I remember having a crap ton of them. Like, I think we only had like 40 or 50 pre-orders, but we had like close to like more than 100 copies of the game or something like that. All those games were gone. People found a way. We were doing ship from store, ordering out, shipping them out. So the game was selling like crazy because I do feel like people didn't have anything else to do. Plus, it's Final Fantasy VII. Remember when I told you about Destiny? Destiny, when it first came out, 21 million sold. Destiny 2 came nowhere near that number. Part of the reason it came nowhere near that number is because once people got a chance to play what Destiny is, they realize, okay, it's cool. It's not what I thought it was going to be. So they fell off. I think the same thing happened with Final Fantasy VII. A lot of people were excited for a new Final Fantasy. Some people kind of wanted it to stay traditional to what it was before. Some people wanted more of the what is the game? Jesus, I forget the name of the game. I said I did this the other day, but they wanted more of the Octopath Traveler look of the game.
The old school look, the old school. Yeah, back in the day look. Yeah.
Yeah, they just wanted to be more modernized, like they did with Octopath. Some people was hoping to get something like that, and it wasn't that, and that's fine. I think the overall aesthetic and look of Final Fantasy VII is amazing, but I think the overall execution of the game is not what most people wanted. Now, there are people that love Final Fantasy 15's gameplay, that was super excited for it because they took all the good things from Final Fantasy 15 and made it better. So I think those people were super excited for it, but I think it was just a huge divide. So the people that bought 7 was like, this is cool, but it's not everything I wanted to be. I enjoyed my time with it, but I don't see why I need to move on and play the next one. So that's the biggest part of it. But I also think the fact that they separated it into 3 separate games, people are like, the first time I played this game, I had the whole experience. Not only do I not get the whole experience, I had to pay for it 3 separate times. And then what I'm paying for is nowhere even near close to what the original product I played back in 1997. Like, you changed a lot of it when it comes to like the overall arching way of the story. So you have those people that are like super staunched in the fact that the game isn't what I thought it was going to be. It doesn't play the way I wanted to play. And on top of that, the story is broken up into 3 different games. So I have to buy it 3 different times to actually finish out the story. Those are all things I think that hindered the sale of the second one. But I think the pandemic and people being able to just buy things and be able to just experience them as much as they want back then is the main reason why you see sales of the original ones so high, but you see these down so much lower, because guess what? Now we have more games competing for people's time compared to then. It was all of people were still just getting back into gaming. Like, I know, people, Slow-Mo. I know a lot of people that haven't played games in like 10, 15 years, that, that life took over. They had families, they had their careers. And then all of a sudden you just heard from them say, hey man, I'm thinking about getting into a game system. What do you think I should buy? Or what games do you think I should try? I had a lot of that going on back then. So that really help elevate gaming. That's also why we had a whole bunch of layoffs over the last 2 years, because all of those people that we're talking about are no longer here. And those same people are not here to buy Final Fantasy Rebirth because they just bought something because they just wanted to pass time, because that's what we could only do back then. There's other reasons too, but I want to definitely hear what you think it is. But those are like some of the main things I think kind of contribute to it, which Square Enix kind of already knew this was probably going to happen, and that's probably why they're not talking about the numbers at this point to anybody about it.
I think you hit a lot of good points there. I think it's way more like platform exclusive status is a part of it, right?
Right.
Not the part the people who are saying that the most think it is, because if it was on Xbox, it still would have been a sales disappointment. Sorry. Right. The Xbox isn't a big enough platform, nor do the demographics on of the kind of gamers that play these games on the Xbox tend to play these kind of games the most, right? So those things, PC would be the one platform where they probably wish they would have been able to launch the game at the same time on.
Right. Because
PC gamers will definitely buy these games more than you will see from the Xbox side of things. And if a Nintendo console can handle it, Nintendo, sure, right? But the reality of this series, and it kind of like, I hate to say it because Final Fantasy is the very first RPG I've ever played. Final Fantasy 4 was Final Fantasy 2 over here. I've said it multiple times. People are probably tired of hearing me say it, but I got love for the series, even though I hadn't enjoyed a lot of the later games. And that's part of it right there. That I didn't enjoy a lot of the later games. Sales-wise, and let me kind of preempt this with something that I've noticed. People view sales with the quality of the game, and that's not true. Like, just because a game sells a lot doesn't mean it's a good game. Madden sells a lot. I don't think even people who play Madden don't really think it's that good of a game. You know, we see that happen all the time. Call of Duty fans say Vanguard is one of the worst Call of Duties to come out in a long time. And Vanguard sold 30 million copies. Sales are not indicative of quality. But what you typically see, and we have to understand that us as hardcore gamers, that we are in the know. Like we kind of find out and hear about things in real time, and we react to that real time feeling about things. But casual gamers don't. And so Final Fantasy became a popular IP in gaming with Final Fantasy 7 on PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the sales charts, if you look at the history of Final Fantasy and its sales, it just kept growing from there. And it peaked at one point with Final Fantasy 13. Now, we got True Bleed in the chat that says Final Fantasy 13 is underrated, and True Bleed, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree. I can't stand that game. I'm not gonna get into all the details of why I can't stand it. I just know that the first half of it felt like I was just running down a long hallway, and then like maybe 24 hours later, now you give me a big open world. I couldn't stand the characters. I couldn't stand lightning. I didn't like the game, but and considering how games media treated Square and Final Fantasy when that game released, I would say a lot of people didn't like that game, but that game sold a lot. Just because a game sells a lot doesn't mean that people liked it.
Right.
When Square Enix shipped that game to retailers, if someone turned the game back in, I mean, that's the retailer holding on to that game. That's not Square Enix. They made a sale. They made their sales when they shipped it to GameStop, or back then, whoever the heck else, Walmart, Target, whatever. Remember, here's a great example of this. Forte, remember when Watch Dogs 1 came out?
Mm-hmm.
You remember how everyone was hyped with that completely not like running on any kind of hardware trailer, initial launch trailer, announcement trailer, of Watch Dogs and everything that they showed. It was the game of E3. Everyone couldn't wait to play that game. And then it came out. And it was a disappointment.
Right.
But that game sold a lot of copies. It sold so many copies that Ubisoft immediately approved of a sequel. Even though people hated the game, people felt like Ubisoft hit them with a bait and switch. Even though the game didn't live up to expectations, and the majority of people that played it were disappointed, it sold a lot. Because us in the know would check out reviews and see other people's opinions on it and find out the game don't look like the way they showed it. It don't play like the way it plays, like all the issues that it had, and say, all right, I'm gonna pass on that. But the people, the casual gamer that heard about that game, they still expecting to get what they got, what they saw with the announcement trailer. Now, I bring that up to talk about everything that happens after Final Fantasy 13, because Final Fantasy 14 is the MMO that launched horribly. Forget how great it is now and how successful it is now. When it launched terribly. So bad that they had to create an in-game narrative for them to reboot the whole entire MMO. You got Final Fantasy 15, which I like to call the emo K-pop, road trip band simulator, whatever you want to call it, where the story doesn't make any sense and you gotta watch anime movies outside of it to help you understand the story, and all the DLCs that also never launched with it. I think that sold 15 million copies or close to it. When you have games, and that's less than Final Fantasy 13, by the way, when you have games that sell to a lot of people, but they disappoint, when you come out with better games afterwards, there's a lot of casual gamers who aren't paying attention to the fact that you made the next games coming up better. They don't care. Because they remember Final Fantasy 13. Because they remember Final Fantasy 15. And I bring all that up to say that Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and Rebirth, none of them have reached the sales of Final Fantasy 15. And it's not because it was a multi-plat. It's because these gamers ain't checking for Final Fantasy no more. They just not. To go back to my example with Watch Dogs 2 came out. A better game than Watch Dogs 1 in every way, and it sold less. It's just the way things are. And so that's the real big issue here, is that Final Fantasy it sells to the hardcore Final Fantasy fan, to some of them, because there's some of them who still want it to be turn-based, right? But it's not going to sell to the Gen Zers. It's not going to sell to the Fortnite kids and the Roblox kids and the people playing League of Legends and the people playing Valorant and the streamers that play the weird games like Lethal Company that look like I made it 5 seconds ago in my office and just threw it out there on the market but there's tons of people streaming and playing it. Those people don't care about Final Fantasy. It's not, how we talk about how Halo's star has dulled a little bit. Well, so has Final Fantasy. It's not that game anymore. So I feel that's the main issue. And would it being multi-platform have helped? Sure, but it still wasn't going to outsell Final Fantasy 15. And how does Square fix that? I have no idea. I have no idea how they fix this. But putting it on more platforms will help sales. And I'm fairly certain that they wish they weren't locked into this PlayStation deal to just have it on PlayStation. But I don't think it changes much.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just think in general, it just comes back to this isn't nothing new with Square. Remember, Tomb Raider, 8 million copies sold, didn't mean nothing because they said it underperformed. I already knew that this game was, I'm not gonna say in trouble because and the funny thing is there was a lot of buzz and a lot of hype around the game, like especially for people trying to find I remember people trying to find deluxe editions of the game and stuff. So there's a lot of interest there. But when Sony didn't come out and splatter the world with sales figures from the first week or first month sales, and Square didn't say anything, and then you start seeing all of these different rumors about it not selling well, and then you start seeing the UK charts and how that actually is happening. And then, like you said, Japan had a uptick, but we all know that Japan isn't the place that a lot of people buy consoles anymore when it comes to like in-home consoles. It's mostly mobile and on the go. So any uptick in numbers is a good uptick in numbers there for the most part. You sell 500 of anything, Xbox knows that. You sell 500,000 Xboxes in Japan, you're winning. So it's just interesting seeing the dynamic of all that stuff kind of happen. I think the game's going to be great. I just think I wouldn't be surprised if it sells way better once all 3 parts are out, because I do think there is something to the point where people just don't want to buy the game 3 separate times. And there are some people that will be like, hey, I waited on the first one, I can wait on the second one, and when the third one comes out, I'll wait on that one. I'll wait for them to come out with some complete collection for like $150 that gives me all 3 games. And I think that probably will sell better than anything, because at that point, I think the game will be it'll be on PS6 at that time. It will probably be a flagship game, and it's going to be the best version of Final Fantasy VII that you're going to get. And I think that's but even then, people experience it.
I don't think a ton of people are going to be checking for it then either. Like, to a lesser extent, we kind of saw that with Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So here's that's true. Widely considered one of the best video game trilogies ever, is re-released as a remaster by EA and BioWare, and by EA's own estimations, it was a success considering what they thought it was going to do. But it didn't it wasn't top of the charts for the year it came out, and it did fairly well. But here's 3 amazing games, and it didn't blow everyone away. I think once a game becomes kind of old in the sense, because even though these FF7R games aren't exactly like the original game, so you can't say, well, I played the original game so I know what's going to happen. You really don't.
Right.
But the fact that like here's an amazing trilogy, they ain't change anything. They just, you know, get some visual touching up here and there, a little bit of modernizing of some of the gameplay mechanics, and re-released it. And you know, I double dipped on it. I bought it on every platform that I owned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a pay pig, but like a lot of newer gamers looked at that game and was like, I hear so many great things, but not for me. You know, it's just, it is what it is. We just gotta accept how that's going to turn out. You know, it's not going to be, we can't get those games to sell to everybody the way they did when they first came out back in like 2011, 2009, 2007. It's just not going to sell the same. And I think once Final Fantasy VII R as a trilogy comes out, when the last one releases, and let's say at that point PlayStation ain't pressed to keep it off of Xbox, it shows up on the Xbox at that point. It's not going to sell amazing because it just showed it. No, it's not going to sell because it's Final Fantasy. It's not as popular as it once is. It's old. You know, anyone who wanted to play it on Xbox had the opportunity to play it in other places. All three of them. And if they wanted it bad enough, they went on ahead and did that. So, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, that's it.
Alrighty. So this is the point in time in this show where we switch over to the DPS channel. Forte, are you ready?
I'm doing it now.
All right.
Doing it now.
Let's see.
Edit. Customization.
Oh, and for those who don't understand what we're doing, if you haven't been here before, so what we're about to do is we have a whole channel for DPS, damage per second podcast. And we're trying to get that channel up to, once we hit 500 subs, we will make this podcast exclusively on that channel, and we would love to kind of get there. We're almost halfway there. We're on our way, and so what we like to do is switch over to that side halfway through the show. So if you haven't subbed to the channel yet, once we redirect everyone over there, don't worry about having to do that yourself. We'll do it for you. Just hit the like button, hit the sub button. If you haven't hit the like and sub button on this channel, please do so as well. But we would love for you to do that when we get over there.
All right.
There's a super chat. Oh, snap. Thank you, Yobi. I didn't even see that. Sorry, Rodimus. Shout out to Rodimus for the $2 super chat. He says, don't just lurk, hit the like button. And I agree 1000%. You know, I appreciate you guys lurking, but you could also hit the liking while you're lurking. You know, appreciate it. You said you're ready?
Yeah.
All right. Where is the, okay, I see it now.
We lurking.
Okay, that is done. And Forte, if you can throw the link in the chat for the replay, so the people, when they watch it on the replay, they can just click the link and head over to the other side, and then I'll get going. John Wolf in the house. Oh, John in the house. Forte, do you know that John Wolf sleeps with his Asus ROG ally? Do you know he sleeps with it? You know, he I think he I don't know who took the picture, because it just like, it would make no, like, how did the picture get taken? Maybe he faked it. He wasn't really sleeping, and he just kind of took it himself, which is also weird. But he cradles the ROG ally in both arms and lays on his side, you know, and he kind of caresses improperly designed micro SD slot.
Oh Lord, that's way more than I needed to know.
Okay, I'm kidding. He does not do that. He does shower with it, which might be a reason why it doesn't work very well.
Waterproof.
It's not. All right, we're gonna do this transition. Let me. So as I said again, we're about to head over to the other side of the stream. We glad to see you guys there, and once you get there, hit the like, subscribe button. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.